Okay, so this is HR Hidden Ranger Streaming with a live reaction to Spider-Man Far From Home, Marvel Studios' latest Spider-Man movie, the second in the series, starring Tom Holland in what will be his fourth, I believe, appearance as Spider-Man. Starting with Captain America: Civil War, and then directly leading into Spider-Man: Homecoming, and then Avengers: Infinity War, and then this movie is the fourth, but it is, I'm guessing, taking place long before Infinity War. It's a whole thing, but hello to anybody in the chat who's watching. Yeah, this is a new thing for me as far as live streaming my reactions. Usually I record them and post them, but this time I'm going ahead and live streaming it just to see how this will work out. But all right, I'm excited about this movie. I like Tom Holland as Spider-Man so far. I've liked the movies he's been in, so I'm interested in seeing this. So let's go ahead and watch this thing.
Thank you, Spider-Man.
That was so good.
Hey, sorry I'm late.
Happy.
You look nice.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. New dress?
Yes, it is. How'd you know?
What just happened?
Planning a trip?
Mm-hmm. Going to Europe. It's a school trip.
Did you get your passport?
Peter Parker here to pick up a passport, please.
Mini toothpaste?
Mm-hmm.
Pack your suit.
I just want to go on my trip with my friends. Europe doesn't really need a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. You look really pretty.
Therefore, I have value.
No, that's not right.
I'm messing with you. You look pretty too.
I just want to spend some time with MJ. I think she really likes me, dude.
That reminds me when I first fell in love. I had just finished my film called.
So nice to finally meet you, Spider-Man.
You're Nick Fury.
Put some clothes on. Let's go for a ride.
Is he gonna be okay like that?
Might want to turn him over so he doesn't swallow his tongue.
I think Nick Fury just hijacked our summer vacation.
Awesome.
You got gifts, Parker, but you have a job to do. Are you going to step up or not?
You're all alone. Your friends are in trouble. What are you going to do about it?
You don't want any part of this.
Who is that guy?
He's like Iron Man and Thor rolled into one.
He's no Spider-Man.
What is it with you and Spider-Man?
What, he looks out for the neighborhood, has a dope suit, and I really respect him. Sup, dickwad?
Okay, actually, hold on, let me, yeah, put it on that, there we go. Okay, so, this was my, Spider-Man Far From Home, and okay, that went in some intriguing directions. Hey, Coley, how's it going? Yeah, so I don't know how much of that trailer you caught, but yeah, I was intrigued by it. I I don't know about you, but wow. In fact, I'll probably, you know what? Tell you what. Now that I actually do have somebody here as like an audience member, and you know, I'm planning on doing this live stream for a little bit. Want to watch this again? Uh-oh. Am I still... Okay. Yeah, I was worried because because on my phone it's buffering, so I don't know what it. You can still see me? Okay, cool. Yeah, it's buffering on my phone, so I was wondering if if the streaming had cut out, but you know, okay, that's a relief. So yeah, let's go ahead and watch this again, and I wanna digest this a bit more.
Thank you, Spider-Man.
That was so good. Hey, sorry I'm late. Happy.
You look nice.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. New dress?
Yes, it is. How'd you know?
What just happened?
Planning a trip?
Mm-hmm. Going to Europe. It's a school trip.
Did you get your passport?
Peter Parker here to pick up a passport, please.
Mini toothpaste?
Pass your suit. I just want to go on my trip with my friends. Europe doesn't really need a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's kind of weird, doesn't it?
You look really pretty.
Therefore, I have value.
No, that's not
I'm
right.
messing with you. You look pretty too.
I just want to spend some time with MJ. I think she really likes me, dude.
That reminds me when I first fell in love. I had just finished my food college.
And here's where the trailer takes a turn.
So nice to finally meet you, Spider-Man.
Wow.
You're Nick Fury.
Put some clothes on. Let's go for a ride.
Is he gonna be okay like that?
Might want to turn him over so he doesn't swallow his tongue.
I think Nick Fury just hijacked our summer vacation.
Awesome! You got gifts, Parker, but you have a job to do. Are you going to step up or not?
You're all alone. Your friends are in trouble. What are you going to do about it?
You don't want any part of this.
Who is that guy?
He's like Iron Man and Thor rolled into one.
He's no Spider-Man.
What is it with you and Spider-Man?
What, he looks out for the neighborhood, has a dope suit, and I really respect him. Sup, dickwad?
Okay, so, and we're back. All right, so yeah, this is a fun trailer, and I'm already forming some. Goddamn, the trailer's baller as hell. Yeah, it is baller. Yeah, it's neat, and did I hear correctly? Did they say that was a spring break or a summer vacation, or what were they going on? It went by really quickly. It said Nick Fury hijacked my...
Nick Fury just hijacked our summer vacation.
Holy crap. Summer vacation. So that means this is taking. Wait a minute. Okay, so first movie, Spider-Man: Homecoming took place in Homecoming, and that is like late September, early October usually of a school year. So within the first couple of months of a school year, which is weird because the way the way the Spider-Man Homecoming seemed like it kind of seemed like that was like taking place a lot closer to summer, like in the fall or whatever. But yeah, so if we figure that's like September, or if that movie was September or October, and then the stuff taking place in Europe is actually the summer vacation, then that means there is almost an entire school year that has gone by. So this is set several months, almost a year after the events of Spider-Man: Homecoming. So that's really interesting. I kind of figured that they'd structure this series of movies so that it take place, at several points in the same year to keep Peter Parker, perpetually 15. But they actually had time pass for him. Interesting. So yeah, that's okay. Well, I mean, I guess it makes sense because like Tom Holland's like 19 or 20 at this point, and he's not going to get any younger. Like they can only, like, he could only pass as like a 15 or 16-year-old, for a short period of time. But yeah, that's interesting. To be fair, the MCU does move in sort of real time. Oh, he's 22? Okay. Well, sort of real time, but they have done a lot of like back and forth hopscotch on when different movies take place. I think for a while, the first Avengers movie was said to take place in 2012. The year the movie came out, but then like Captain America, the first Avenger, like the present day scenes in that took place like maybe 2 weeks before that movie, and then the events of Iron Man 2, Incredible Hulk, and Thor were all like a year before the Avengers movie, so that's 2011, and that puts the first Iron Man movie in 2010. And I don't know if that's still canon, but they've also done stuff like some of the movies after Avengers, basically took place at some point in the year that they were released in. But like Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I think took place like 2 months after the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and then of course there's the shenanigans of, or I guess just the kind of necessary thing of like of Avengers Infinity War taking place 2 years after Captain America's Civil War, and they actually do say 2 years in the movie, and then but like Spider-Man Homecoming takes place like, what was it, almost immediately after Captain America's Civil War, and then then like a period of maybe, you know, months or whatever pass in that movie. But like what that means is that that Avengers Infinity War takes place almost 2 years after Civil War and Homecoming. So it's a lot of weird thing, and then there was that weirdness in Spider-Man in Spider-Man Homecoming, which depicted the alien invasion in New York in Avengers as taking place like 8 years before event 8 years before that, but like it was 8 years in real time, but it shouldn't have been 8 years in terms of when that of like when those events took place. But you know, it's some time scale weirdness. Um, but anyway, uh, so okay, so over and above that, I do think it's cool to see London as, you know, and general Europe as a location for um, as a location for this movie. Although, you know, we still have yet to see a we still have yet to see Spider-Man in the MCU actually do much in New York City itself. There's only been like a few glimpses of him web swinging around, but mostly he's been swinging around in Queens and an airport in Germany, and let's see what else, and Washington D.C. and Delaware, and also Titan, and you know, and Deep Space. So he's been a lot further than Europe, but you know, but this, you know, this this movie, you know, set in Britain, you know, is supposed to be Spider-Man Far From Home. It's like, yeah, being far from home is kind of on brand for him. Oh yeah. Yeah, it did. Yeah, apparently it did take place in 2010. Yeah, figuring out the timeline of the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been the subject of quite a few news articles and internet articles and YouTube videos and stuff like that. Um, so yeah. But anyway, let me think. And Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. That's interesting. Um, the glimpses we saw of him. Let me see if I get a good glimpse, get a good view of him. There we go. Yeah, that. With that unshaven sort of quality to him. Yeah, and the costume itself looks like it's legit on brand Mysterio outfit. It looks fairly close to the Steve Ditko original. You know, it's a little more high tech looking and kind of has some details that kind of look like Chitauri design sense from Avengers. You know, speaking of Avengers. That's interesting. I don't know if that was intentional, but and then yeah, there was that bit. In fact, let me slow this down because I can do that. I wield power over space, time, and YouTube. He goes zappity, And then here he's got the fishbowl. See, watch. Yeah, classic fishbowl. And it looks like he's fighting the water monster who looks like Hydro Man. And earlier in the trailer, there was a creature that there was a humanoid made out of terrain that kind of looked like Sandman. There was one that looked like it was made out of fire. They could be the classic villains somehow, this kind of seems like it would be an on-brand thing for Mysterio to do. Maybe they're illusions created by him, and he's fighting them to make himself look like the hero. So that he's back in the comics, his first appearance in Amazing Spider-Man, I think it was 13. He had his first appearance was framing Spider-Man for I believe it was a museum heist, and then making a public debut as Mysterio to track down this evildoer named Spider-Man. So basically he was setting himself up to be a hero, and later in that conflict, Spider-Man thought ahead and brought a tape recorder to their battle, and he goaded Mysterio into actually revealing his trick. So there's that. So that could be where he's going with this. And if I accidentally spoiled the plot of this movie, oops. But hey, if that's what they have Mysterio doing, then it's an on-brand thing for Mysterio to do, and in which case, applause. I can't wait to see it I can't wait to see it in the movie. And if they have something to do entirely different, then I will be surprised. And you know what? I like being surprised in movies, even when it deviates from the source material. So it's a kind of a win-win here. And also in the being a charlatan is definitely something that Mysterio likes to do, because the Spectacular Spider-Man animated series that I absolutely love back in 2008 and 2009, I think. Mysterio was in the season 2 premiere, and he first appeared basically kind of doing the Sorcerer Supreme kind of shtick, and to the point where he was even speaking in Latin and doing these doing these elaborate tech illusions and making it look like sorcery. So yeah, he's always been a charlatan. In fact, and I think if I remember correctly, the Spider-Man 2 video game back in the day that was based on the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2 had Mysterio as one of the villains at some point, and he was patterned there after a 50s sci-fi movie, Alien. So yeah, that's that kind of thing, and this kind of thing works well for Mysterio for the simple reason that as a recurring villain, he tends to lose a lot of his steam, because once you understand that Mysterio is behind whatever caper this is, then it's okay, this is an illusion. Everything he's throwing at me is an illusion. I'm just going to ignore all that and kick his ass. That's basically what Spider-Man and Daredevil do. And there's even this fun text from superheroes sort of thing on social media that had Daredevil and Spider-Man just chatting on their just texting on their phones, and Daredevil's like, okay, so I met Mysterio the other day. Oh wait, hold on, let me respond to something that wasn't his boss battle in that game just him getting punched out in one hit? Could be. I don't recall. I don't really recall. I only barely remember that he was in that game, but I know he was a lot harder to take out as a boss battle in the 2000s Spider-Man game, the Neversoft one for original PlayStation, but he also spent most of that as like a giant Mysterio, and that was probably just this huge animatronic puppet that Spider-Man just had to wail on. Yeah, there's one Spider-Man game where the boss battle is just him getting punched out in one hit. Yeah, that also sounds on brand for Mysterio. It's on PS2. Okay, yeah, it probably was that one. It's been so many years that I don't remember, and I don't think I actually got that far with it because I'd only rented that game at the time. So anyway, but yeah, there was this text from Superheroes thing where Daredevil was texting Spider-Man and being like, okay, so I ran into Mysterio the other day, and he was kind of weird because he just started making dinosaur noises at me, and then he said that that you'll never know which one is me, and then he just stood there, so I knocked him out. So what's going on with him? And Spider-Man's like, oh my God, his illusions don't work on you. Do you want him to be a do you want to take over as his full-time arch nemesis? Because that would be great. You'd be good at it. And Mysterio's like, okay, sure, why not? But question, is his head shaped like a fishbowl, or is that just kind of a glitch or a mistake with my radar sense? And Spider-Man's like, oh no, that's a fishbowl. Good luck with that. He's a weirdo. It was that kind of thing. Yeah, I cracked up when I read that. So yeah, shout out to the text from Superheroes Facebook group and social media presence, because that is always entertaining. I love that kind of thing. I love when superheroes just have weird conversations with each other, just the kind of BSing with each other that people do. It's always fun. Yeah. So what do you think of Mysterio in this movie, Coley? So, and as he's typing that, and I'm waiting on the response, I gotta say, I do like that they're going with the classic, green and purple, weird costume, and I'm not gonna lie, I like some of the other costumes he's had better, in particular, the way he looked in Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, that video game. He looked pretty cool there, and then there was one look he had in the 90s when he was drawn by Mark Bagley. His costume had a bunch of straps, and instead of a fishbowl, he had this illusion where it looked like he had this mist rising out of his collar that was in the vague shape of a face. I liked that, but I'm just thrilled to see, classic Ditko look, that's just, altered just a tiny bit. I like that. I like seeing that in the movie. That I like that they're going with that, because they very easily could have done something wildly different the way they've done with a lot of MCU villains. But no, they're just doing classic Mysterio. That's going to be great. I think he's going to turn out to be using illusions to make himself good, or he is a true hero of the MCU. 50-50 chance, really. I mean, they could end up giving him a sympathetic backstory. I mean, they've done that to some villains in the MCU that in the comics are irredeemable a-holes. For instance, Zemo in Captain America: Civil War. That dude had no redeeming qualities in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. His son Helmut Zemo kind of, was redeemable after a while, but he was, but he still, formed the Thunderbolts under, under like monstrous and predatory intentions, that kind of thing. But in Captain America's Civil War, like he was doing some effed up masterminding, but it all came from an understandable place of this man lost his family to a superhero fight. Mysterio's gonna punch out Galactus, just you wait. I mean, I could see him orchestrating Galactus. Like, or at least orchestrating something like that. And like, yeah, that would be pretty fun. But yeah, maybe that is what he's doing, just like, orchestrating super villain fights. Although it would be kind of interesting if those elemental beings that we saw throughout that trailer are actual menaces to Britain that that Mysterio's in the hero role trying to stop. I mean, that's an interesting flex. We'll see. You think the Civil War Zemo is Helmut? Yeah, makes sense. Probably is. Yeah, that's the more sympathetic of the two, sort of. It's just that Helmut doesn't have the hamburger face scarring that the other one did, and yeah, and in fact I still kind of want to see Helmut come back, because he could be, because like now that his plan to avenge his family against the Avengers backfired, and they didn't even let him die. Like, I could see him being like, okay, now it's even more personal. Now I'm gonna have to step up my game, and it turns out I'm really good at this, diabolical masterminding. And hey, there are all these villains that happen to be still alive. Some of them are locked up, some of them are on the loose, and I could organize them, and then we could we could all be masterminds, and we could mastermind some evil. We could be the masters of ne'er-do-welliness. Yes. I regret nothing. But yeah, so that's a lot of fun. Let's see, what else? What else do I want to say? Yeah, there's so much to talk about in this. One thing that I'd heard about. Oh, something that I didn't catch the first time. The first time I saw this trailer, but I saw it the second time. Homeless support, food, shelter, hope, and so basically, Aunt May here is in a somewhat similar role that she had at the feast shelter in the comics at some point, and also in Marvel's Spider-Man for PlayStation 4. She's basically overseeing a homeless shelter and helping people and all that, and I really think that's cool. And now that she knows that Peter is Spider-Man, she's enlisting him to make public appearances and drum up donations for it. And there's this awesome high five. So I mean, it's kind of a little behind the scenes shady in that in the way they're orchestrating it, but it's for a good cause, and that's cool. Sorry, I had to take a drink. I had to, was doing a lot of talking, and of course, here's their the thing with Happy and May, because I guess they still needed a reason for Jon Favreau to be in these movies. So it's like, okay, well, what do we have Happy to do next? Oh, I know. Let's have him back on May Parker, and of course, you know, he knows like personal details about, you know, when she has a new dress and all that. But then again, this is the same guy who is apparently, you know, holding on to the same, who's like, you know, holding on to an engagement ring between Tony Stark and Pepper Potts for like, you know, for since like 2008 or whatever. So arguably before the first Iron Man movie. But yeah, like I'm interested to see where that goes, and like of course, you know, Aunt May is like, you know, 50 in this movie, but she looks, you know, 35 at most. You know, so of course she has a bit more of an active dating life, but heck, even, you know, old lady Aunt May in the comics, you know, has dated a surprising number of people, Jarvis among them, and J. Jonah Jameson's dad among them. I'm trying to remember if she dated Wong. She might have. I mean, she... Oh, I think there's also Willie Lumpkin. Yeah, sit with that. And I do like here that as he's like packing up, like he makes a conscious decision to not bring his Spider-Man suit, because, you know, he's going on vacation from New York. You know, he wants to like, you know, he actually has like, you know, this version of Peter Parker has a lot more friends and romantic interests than canon Spider-Man did. So that's cool, and so he's just like, you know what, I'm just gonna leave my costume behind. I want to experience Britain without it, and he shuts the door. Selfifying. Passport pickup. Yeah. And this moment with him and is him and Michelle, aka MJ, played by the awesome Zendaya. You know, like I did notice in the previous movie that she did seem to have feelings for Peter, because like she was always glancing in his direction, you know, regardless of whether or not you know, he was glancing in hers. Like she always kept track of where he was, you know, like and there would be times where the camera would specifically show her, you know, like watching him leave a room. And it's like, okay, yeah, she's got a thing for him. And here it looks like they're doing something with it. What's a busman's holiday, Coley? Because I'm not familiar with that. But yeah, that's kind of a neat interaction between the two of them.
Or I have value.
No, that's not right.
I'm messing with you. You look pretty too.
I just like her awkward body language here. You look pretty too, you know, like as much as she goes around, you know, like being all sarcastic and acting like, you know, she's like over everything, you know, like when it comes to actually telling a boy that you know, that she likes him, or that, you know, he looks pretty, that, you know, she's not quite sure how to say it. So yeah, it's pretty neat. I like that.
I just want to spend some time with MJ. I think she really likes me, dude.
That reminds me when I first fell in love. I had just finished my fruit cobbler.
And you know, I really wanted to hear more of that story about the fruit cobbler. I mean, was that the thing that he was in love with, or was that just a gateway to him, you know, finding somebody, you know? And actually, I think he might actually be. I think Ned in this movie might actually have something going with Betty Brant in this movie, who is the blonde classmate that's also on this trip. And oh, it's a trope where someone takes a holiday or trip from their job, ends up having to do some version of their job while on their vacation, like a lawyer having to defend someone while they're on vacation, or a detective having to solve a mystery, or basically any kind of like adventure story where the person going on vacation, ends up having an adventure. So, yeah. I think he figured that by like leaving his costume at home, he would avoid that, or rather, maybe he thought he would avoid being the one to go on that, to like have to go into action as Spider-Man. Just kind of be like, well, I don't have a costume to deal with this, so nope, it's not gonna be me. Nope, I'll just watch this, or I'll just be over here. Nothing I can really do about this. Anyway, how about those sites? But of course, this is Peter Parker we're talking about, so it's never that simple. But it makes sense that he'd at least want to try that. And yeah, I do like that Peter in this movie series has Ned as a best friend, which is wildly different from the original comics, where Peter didn't have a best friend until college, and Ned was far from a friend, but a rival for Betty Brant's affections. Betty Brant being the first girlfriend he had. So a lot's different, and this particular Ned is basically Ganke from Miles Morales comics, just with a different name. But yeah, we all know this. And regarding the
awesome.
Yeah, regarding that their Spider-Man costume, what do you think, Coley? I think it's really cool looking. I like the red and black color scheme, and I'm sure it's only a matter of time before we see that in the PlayStation 4 Spider-Man game. Because holy crap, that looks cool. Now, granted, it's kind of fuzzy in this image, but it has the same glider capability as the last one, or as the other Stark suit. But yeah. And like I said, that's one with that's one that looks like Sandman, but it could just be like generic elemental, like obstacle.
You got gifts, Parker. But you have a job to do. Are you going to step up or not?
You're all alone. Your friends are in trouble. What are you going to do about it?
Wow, he looks like he took a bath. Or at least he took a dunk in the lake. Like that.
You don't want any part of this.
Okay. Well then, that's about all I've got for Spider-Man: Far From Home, and this has been an interesting experiment in live streaming my reaction. Thank you to Coley for hanging out and chatting with me as I watch this, and yeah, this is gonna be fun. I can't wait for this. This is coming out summer, I suppose, July 5th. Okay, well, so that's a day after Independence Day. Huh. Interesting. Well, And so that's going to come out after Avengers Infinity War, which I think is coming out like April or May. I can't recall which one it is at this point, but yeah, it's coming soon. It'll be out before this one, but yeah. All right. So if you like what I'm doing, like, comment, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Twitter at HRStreaming, and I will be back at some point doing a reaction video, either live streaming it or recording it the way I have done. But yeah, this has been fun, and bye now.